This is the second in the series of videos on stalking, and I want to continue the theme of the problems of other people. One of the things I discovered in my own stalking experience, or my own experience of being stalked more accurately, is the stalk was actually the smallest aspect of the problem. The biggest problem is that of other people, and how other people behave, the advice they give, the stuff they do, then they think they're helping. It's like, I know what to do, and they just make it worse. And that is an ongoing problem for anyone who has a stalking issue. And I thought it worth just looking a little bit at the background as to why this happens. Mostly, this is because the stalker is already known to the victim, often for quite a long time prior to the stalking becoming manifest. Now, I'm going to offer a reframe to what most people think of as the stalking experience. Most people think stalking begins at the point they become aware of the stalker. I'm going to put to you that stalking probably began at the first point of contact before you knew they were a stalker, and they were somebody in your social circle, they were somebody on your professional circle. They may have been known to you for years prior to the stalking becoming manifest, i.e. to your awareness. So as a result of them being well known to you, and part of your social circle, part of the people you see, say, in a social setting, so a place you go to, they're in the pub or wherever it is you go, or part of your professional circle, they will be working to integrate into your life and into your social group. As a result, they may well be going for dinner with some of the people that you both know. They may well become friends with your friends. They may well be somebody who's now in your social group. And that may go on for quite some time. And of course, the fact that they are part of the group is going to suggest that they're tolerated at least, but probably liked by some of those people. They may even start to begin business and social relationships with some of your acquaintances, friends, and colleagues. Now, this makes it difficult because they may well be doing one of several things. They're integrating themselves into your social network, plus denigrating you. They may well be putting you down, or maybe eliciting and discovering further data about you and getting closer and closer. There's lots of things they could be doing over weeks, months, or years prior to the stalking behavior becoming manifest to your awareness. This now gives you a problem when you realize, hang on, there's something very wrong going on here. And then you start to try and let people know, hang on, that guy, that woman, they're a nutter, they're stalking me. For the last year, 2 years, or it might be shorter, they've been running a similar narrative with your friends and your acquaintances. They won't necessarily have been doing it with lots of stories and big lies, that kind of stuff. They don't need to do it like that. It's the little drops of poison in the well, the sowing the seed of discord, the sowing a little seed of doubt, just dropping in a double entendre type message that has two possible meanings, but you know what I mean. That could be done just very subtly in the way that social groups tend to talk about each other, except they're doing it with an agenda, with some kind of malevolent intent on their part. They may well be doing this. The very behavior that they themselves are doing to you, the very behavior they plan to do to you, they're accusing you of the whole time. So, somebody I've recently had an encounter with, one of the moves they pulled when I disconnected, total disconnect from this individual, this was in a business context, I was quite impressed with the first move that this person did. This person had been quite negative about a lot of my work associates over a period of time, and was well known to everybody, had integrated into the professional network. This person, the first thing they did was to pick up the telephone and phone them. Phone all those people that they had been bitching about, saying negative things about. And the first thing they did was to tell them exactly what was said. Except they said that I said it. Genius move. Because now I've got a problem in that if I now engage in the he said, she said, but I never said that, I deny it, the act of denial can make something true. And this is the problem a stalking victim can find themselves in when they have themselves been accused of the very thing the stalker is doing. An awful lot of stalkers will be accusing their victim themselves of stalking them. And so it now makes it look like this is a case of something's gone wrong in the relationship, and it's a bit of one, a bit of the other. You know, they're both guilty as each other, and they just need to sort it out and resolve their issues. That's how it's been made to look. And that seeding of that may have happened for a long time before the stalking became manifest. So in this situation, you now have a problem. Because if your social networks, if your business networks are now thinking, well, you know, there's no smoke without fire, you've probably done this yourself, you've brought this on yourself, especially if you've been engaged in some kind of sexual relationship with that individual, you've had social interactions with that person, you've kind of had a closer relationship in the past, you may have had arguments with them, there may be all sorts of stuff in the background that now is used to justify basically everything you've ever said, everything you've ever done shall and will be used against you by the jury of your peers who know absolutely nothing as to what's really going on and are trying to make sense of it. This has got to be the hardest thing for someone to face. I came across this. There's another guy on YouTube. He's a former prisoner, Wes Watson. He's one of the most motivating, terrifying people you'll ever see. Wes Watson. I'll put a link below. One of the things he said in a video I saw recently was that when it comes to explanations, your enemies won't believe them, and your friends don't need them. And I think that is one of the truest things I've ever come across when dealing with stalkers, and in advising other people in dealing with stalkers. If your friends think the party that's stalking you are actually the good guy and you're the one who's the problem, you're not going to get them to change their mind. This requires extreme patience, and you need to play the long game. It's a case of don't be reactive, don't try and control the narrative. Hardest thing in the world. When you have somebody, especially if they're narcissistic, spreading the stories, doing the smear campaign, doing the stuff that the stalker does, engaging people online, and in bringing in more and more people who just love the drama, you've got to keep your mouth shut. Don't say a word. Don't react publicly. Don't put out any statements or counter allegations. Don't do any of that stuff. Because the moment you do that, you're buying into the narrative that this is two people having a disagreement and that there's no smoke without fire, and you've done something to bring this upon yourself. Because all people are seeing is the drama. They're not seeing the truth. They see the drama, and people love the drama to get joined in. So you've got to minimize and de-escalate and distance. That is the most important thing. Minimize, de-escalate, distance. Do not engage. Do not correct. Don't have conversations with people. Don't try and persuade people of the truth of the narrative. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your fingers away from the keyboard. Your friends who are your real friends, they know what's going on. Tell them to keep their mouth shut too. Over time, it is quite probable that things will change as people start to see when you're doing nothing at all, but that person continues in their behaviors, they continue to escalate, they continue the drama, but they're getting that nothing is coming back from yourself. The court of public opinion only sees that person making a fuss. And so that's what they're going to judge on. If you keep your hands off the keyboard and don't do the explanations and don't do the angry Facebook updates, that kind of stuff, things will work out a lot better. They may not work out for better, but they're going to work out better than if you engage. You've got to keep your mouth shut, fingers away from the keyboard. Very, very hard to do. And be prepared to be in this from the long game. Remember, one of the things about your stalker is they don't want a conclusion. There isn't the thing that you need to do that will make them satisfied and go away. There isn't the words that you can say, the explanation that you can give, the apology, the payback, whatever it is, because the moment you give them that thing they've demanded, there'll be the next thing, and then the next thing. It's a game without end. They're not going to stop. So, total disengagement on all fronts, at all levels, is really, really important. There is no conclusion point. Now, the court of public opinion They all seem to think that if they know the right thing to say, the right thing to do, and if only you just did this, if only you did that particular thing that they've been demanding, then it'll all be fine. So why don't you do that? Why are you being so stubborn? Okay, those people, distance yourself from those people too, because they're not going to be helping you. They're going to be helping the drama keep going. So be prepared to play the long game, and remember, your friends do not need explanations. Those who demand explanations, you may just want to distance yourself somewhat from that relationship. Good luck. Comment section below any additional stuff on these points. I'll be interested in to hear your experiences.